The single most unpredictable, potentially dangerous piece of equipment in any commercial kitchen is the human body itself. We are walking vectors. Every worker naturally carries invisible biological pathogens on their skin and introduces physical hazards like stray hair or jewelry into the environment. Relying solely on good habits to keep food safe is a guaranteed vulnerability. True safety requires a strictly engineered, multi-layered system of physical and procedural blockades. The absolute first line of defense is physical health. Before a worker even enters the building, they must hold a valid medical certificate, backed by a strict zero-tolerance policy that grounds anyone showing symptoms like vomiting, diarrhea, or open wounds. Within a high-risk kitchen environment, personal hygiene functions as an active security protocol, serving as a primary blockade designed to intercept biological threats at the front door. Facility architecture dictates worker flow. The locker room acts as the initial quarantine zone, walled off from production areas. Street clothing is strictly prohibited. Workers must swap outside layers for dedicated, pocketless uniforms, eliminating the risk of plastic or fabric pieces dropping into the food. As detailed in these facility policies, all watches and jewelry must be removed. Rings and watch bands trap moisture, creating microscopic breeding grounds for bacteria, while also posing severe physical snagging risks near machinery. Before stepping out of this staging area, staff apply tight-fitting hair restraints, securing another common physical vector. The locker room is a decontamination airlock. Its sole function is to systematically strip away the unpredictable variables of the outside world before a single ingredient is ever exposed. Emerging from the locker room, the worker faces their next immediate barrier, the dedicated hand-washing station. Looking at the specific regulatory guidelines, we see these sinks must operate without the use of hands. A foot pedal or motion sensor prevents a worker from immediately recontaminating their freshly washed skin by touching a dirty faucet handle. The process relies on a specific chemical intervention. Warm water between 40 and 45 degrees Celsius melts away natural skin oils, allowing liquid bactericidal soap to effectively target and break down microbial cell walls. But chemistry alone isn't enough. It requires mechanical force. Staff must apply strict physical friction for 20 to 30 seconds to actually dislodge those degraded pathogens and rinse them down the drain. The routine finishes with single-use disposable paper towels. Forced air dryers are specifically warned against in food zones because they can blow residual bacteria directly into the surrounding atmosphere. This precise combination of chemistry and kinetic friction forms an invisible, temporary glove, ensuring the worker's hands are safe to finally touch the food supply. Inside the kitchen, the space is mapped out by risk level, heavily segregating raw food prep zones from high-risk, ready-to-eat stations. Operational rules forbid moving from a low-care area, like a raw meat station, directly into a high-care area. Crossing these borders carries severe cross-contamination risks and triggers a mandatory reset. Workers must remove soiled equipment, thoroughly wash hands, and put on fresh gear. Certain physical actions also demand an instant reset, regardless of where the worker is standing. Touching the face, coughing, handling waste, or picking up a dropped item requires an immediate glove change and a full hand scrub. Maintaining a sterile environment is a continuous, dynamic cycle, constantly reacting to spatial movement and physical actions throughout the entire shift. A worker steps up to the hand-washing station, but the soap dispenser is empty and the paper towels are gone. In professional food operations, simply blaming the staff member for failing to check the supplies is an unacceptable conclusion. To address a failure like this, management utilizes the 5 whys, a logic chain designed to drill down through layers of causality until the true structural flaw is exposed. Why was the sink empty? Because it wasn't restocked during the shift change. Why was it missed? Because the facility lacked a formal handover checklist to mandate that verification. This identifies the breakdown as a management failure rather than a personal one. To permanently correct the problem, the operation implements a visual Kanban minimum stock system, paired with a mandatory daily validation signature from the person in charge before the doors even open. True personal hygiene relies entirely on a meticulously managed, non-negotiable operational framework. Without the system, the physical barriers fail, and public health is compromised.